Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A 33-year-old Mowbray man has pleaded not guilty to the murder of Launceston teenager Billy Ray Waters. Christopher Lee Brown appeared in court today as he prepares to stand trial later this year.
These are the first pictures of accused killer Christopher Lee Brown being led to court last night after being charged with the alleged murder of 19-year-old Billy Ray Waters. His appearance was brief, the magistrate outlining there would be no opportunity for bail and he would spend the night in jail before reappearing the next day. Around half a dozen supporters sat in for the late session. They returned this morning when the 33-year-old was again escorted to the court. This time, Mr Brown pleaded not guilty to his murder charge. Mr Brown has been remanded to appear in the Launceston Supreme Court on the 14th of October. He's the third person charged in relation to Mr Waters' death, along with two 17-year-old boys. Outside court, those attending took exception to the media attention. Police have now confirmed the body found in bushland near Mayfield last Friday is Billy Ray Waters. Police haven't ruled out charging more people as new information comes to hand. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
A coronial inquest into the shocking death of Vula Delios has questioned why her killer was released on remission despite violent behaviour in prison. The Tasmanian prison boss today taking the stand, facing a barrage of questions over the killer's long history of abusive behaviour, including in the weeks leading up to his release.
Today, it was our prison service on trial. The Director of Prisons, Ian Thomas, leaving court after a lengthy examination about why Vula Delios' killer was released from prison the day before she was attacked. Daryl Royston Wayne Cook was found not guilty for the 2016 incident on the ground of insanity. The second day of a coronial inquest focusing on why he was released on remission, a measure usually reserved for prisoners showing good behaviour. Counsel assisting Jane Ansell telling the court Mr Cook had behavioural issues on a weekly, if not monthly basis in the 12 months prior to his release. The court hearing he abused Risdon Prison staff, had a shiv and damaged his cell, spending much of his time in management units. Documents read by counsel saying the inmate appears not to be of sound mind. Mr Thomas, who was not the prison director at the time, was quizzed on prison procedures and said all matters are taken into consideration when granting a remission. Counsel questioning, is he granted remission anyway? Is that a common occurrence that people who have displayed such behaviour are given remission? The inquest hearing today, Mr Cook spent years in and out of prison in Victoria. Hearing he threatened to assault and spat on staff, tried to headbutt an inmate and stabbed a prisoner with a toothbrush. Tomorrow, the inquest is expected to hear from prison chaplains and Tasmania's chief psychiatrist. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Dangerous winds and severe conditions are pounding the state and have already caused several disruptions. Authorities are warning people to prepare for more wild weather to come. For the latest, we cross to our reporter Ruby Kamane, joining us live from the Hobart waterfront. Good evening, Ruby. I have to say, it looks pretty brutal out there.
Joe, we've all certainly felt the brunt of today's blustery winds, with gusts reaching up to 100 kilometres an hour, as you can see tonight in Hobart. Those intense winds triggering a dangerous situation with a window dislodging at the Conservatorium of Music this afternoon. Crews evacuated the area and closed the road as workers tried to keep the glass in place and make repairs. On the Derwent, a yacht was ripped from its mooring and was grounded at Sandy Bay. Now, this weather, while it's still severe tonight, it's expected to pick up tomorrow and in particular tomorrow evening. We spoke to the State Emergency Services on what we all need to do to prepare.
Please be aware when you're out and about with down power lines. Be prepared for power outages. Also, be very careful with whatever's lying around outside. Please tie down loose items, put them inside, trampolines, anything that's loose outside, please secure and fix.
Minor flood warnings have also been issued in the Derwent and Derwent catchments, with water levels in the Hewell River steadily rising throughout today and forcing the closure of the Esplanade. Emergency crews all across Tasmania are now on standby to help with any dangerous situations. And Joe, anyone in need of assistance is urged to contact the SES on 132 500.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Ruby. Ruby Kamain joining us there from the waterfront. The saga of building height limits is dragging out, with the Hobart City Council deferring a decision on new rules for CBD developments. The issue will now be considered as part of a wider review into population, traffic and housing supply.
The scale of the Hobart City skyline set to remain as is for now. Hobart City Council last night voting down a motion to set a maximum CBD building height of 60 metres.
There was a proposal to go to the Tasmanian Planning Commission with a few changes, and that's not been supported by the majority of the council.
The CBD is currently covered by height guides up to 30 metres, but developers can go bigger if the project has merit.
We have discretion as a council, and our planning staff have the discretion to approve developments over that level. There's no limit on what that discretion would allow for.
An elector poll was carried out on the issue, estimated to cost more than $150,000. It overwhelmingly backed new, strict height limits, but the council has decided to defer that decision.
I said from the beginning it was a waste of money. I think the consensus was that we all knew that there was people in the community that wanted height limits.
I mean, the people of Hobart want height limits, they want the heritage protected, they want streetscapes and view lines.
The issue is now being assessed under the Central Hobart Precinct Plan, which will also consider future population, traffic and housing supply. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
Welcome back. Talks are continuing between 4 southern Tasmanian councils and troubled provider SKM Recycling. The Melbourne-based company went into liquidation last week, ending council contracts across Victoria, with worries the same will occur here in Tasmania. Its Derwent Park site is currently operational, with councils aiming to reach an agreement with SKM to keep the plant going until a sustainable long-term solution can be found. Students at Launceston College have held their final dress rehearsal for Matilda the musical, ahead of opening night tomorrow. The production has been 6 months in the making and the cast is well and truly ready to raise the curtain.
Honest, you should read it.
Lovely. Roald Dahl's classic novel Matilda is set to come alive with a performance by Launceston College. The cast of more than 110 students has been working tirelessly for the last 6 months, ahead of tomorrow's opening at the Princess Theatre.
It's a great opportunity to be able to perform with a cast this big.
The musical features lots of glitz and glamour as well as some magic tricks, and audiences won't be disappointed.
Lots of action, drama, lots of bright costumes, happy faces, people being a little bit naughty. You'll see a big dance number.
There's children who fly through the air. There might be some girls moving cups with their eyes. It's pretty impressive, disappearing chocolate cakes.
Matilda tells the story of a gifted young girl who fights back against her unkind parents and the evil principal at her school.
Now get out of here, you little stinkworm!
17-year-old Lauren plays the title character, stepping back into her childhood for the role.
It's lots and lots of fun. It's different to any character I've ever had to play before. Obviously I'm playing a little child, so it's a little bit different to playing someone your own age.
Matilda the musical will run from tomorrow night until Saturday. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
National boxing industry officials have gathered in Hobart today to develop a plan to get local athletes competing at the top level. The Australian Amateur Boxing League says its members are being refused entry into international and world championship trials after troubles with Boxing Tasmania.
It's about being able to do what's right for the sport, and it's a sport that we all love, and you know, with the big structure and the executives that we have, to be able to push this and make sure that it gets heard by the right people.
Boxing Tasmania lost its affiliation with the national body in June.
Tasmanian prodigy Taron Thomas has locked in his future at North Melbourne. The Rising Star nominee has signed a new deal which will see him at the Roos until the end of 2022. The 19-year-old has played 19 games this season and kicked 16 goals. He was a top 10 pick in the 2018 draft after impressing for North Launceston in the TSL. After spending the past decade in the finals wilderness, Canterbury Hockey Club is ready to return to the big stage. Co-captain Simon O'Connor says it's reward for effort.
Having such a young group and something we've been working towards for the last 2 years under our coach Dave Budgeon, so it means a lot to finally get a finals berth after being pretty close for the last 2 years.
Only one player in the squad has finals experience. It's a different story for their opponent University, which made the grand final last year.
They'll be very keen, and we'll just need to cover that onslaught at the start and then work our way into the match, and I think the experience will help for us, but yeah, not too much.
University squad goes into the elimination final unchanged. Two young Tasmanian boxers are shaping up for the fights of their lives when they take on opponents from around the world at the National Golden Gloves in Brisbane. 15-year-old Kiara Mills will enter the 48-kilo division, while 16-year-old Charlie Sebastian will square up in the 52-kilo division. Coach Graham George says it'll be a great experience, with the tournament attracting 450 competitors.
It's always great to see their development, you know, like they've been training with me now for 18 months or so, and they train 7 days a week, which it's a big thing.
For some extra motivation, boxing legend Daniel Gill will be ringside in Brisbane supporting the pair.
Good evening. Showers were seen in the west, parts of the south and over the Bass Strait Islands throughout the day today. A high of 16 across Hobart and Devonport. Launceston was the state's warmest with 17 and 14 at Burnie. Other centres today, 11 at Strawn, 13 across Lowhead, Smithton and Flinders Island. Grove and Ouse both 15. On the close-up, low to high level cloud over the west, far south and across the Bass Strait, while mid to high level cloud can be seen covering remaining parts of the state. Further out shows cloud covering most of Tasmania, Victoria, southern South Australia and parts of New South Wales. The rest of the country is mostly cloud-free. Tomorrow, a cold front in strong southwesterly winds crossing Tasmania and southern Victoria in the evening. Southwesterly winds tomorrow 35 to 40 knots, reaching 45 knots in the south and lower east. Swells up to 7.5 metres in the west and south and up to 2 metres in the north. A gale wind warning is current for all coastal waters, including the Channel, Storm Bay and Frederick, Henry and Norfolk Bays. For west to southwesterly winds, a strong wind warning for the Derwent Estuary, the Central Plateau Lakes and Southwest Lakes. A minor flood warning is current for the Huon River, a flood watch for the Northwest Derwent and Huon catchments, and finally a warning to sheep graziers is current for the Upper Derwent Valley, Southeast, Northwest Coast, Midlands and East Coast forecast districts. Tomorrow's forecast now, windy with showers across Hobart and Geeveston, top of 11, Bothwell 9. In the north, a shower or two for Launceston, 13, and showers increasing at Devonport and Cressy. Burnie and Strawn tomorrow, windy with showers, 13 at Curry. Wind easing and looking mostly sunny at St Helens, 13 at Swansea and Orford, 12. Looking ahead to Thursday, showers less about the northeast, snow falling to 400 metres in the south. Friday, showers developing about the north and west, fine elsewhere. And Saturday, showers about the west, far south and Bass Strait Islands. Capital cities 23 and sunny in Perth tomorrow, showers across Adelaide and Melbourne and 21 in Sydney. And on to current temperatures, Hobart 12, partly cloudy, Launceston 13, mostly cloudy, and Devonport 11 and mostly cloudy. And tonight's Aurora energy tip, instead of an electric blanket, try a hot water bottle or an extra woolen blanket or two. That's what I'll certainly be doing tonight, Jo.
I think we all will be, won't we? That's for sure. Thanks so much for that, Jackie. That's all from the team for now. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you a little later. Bye-bye.